Well, here comes another one. Another Amazon Oasis clone. The Xiaomi Moan Mix 7. It features a lot of what made the Oasis and this e-reader layout so popular. Physical page turn buttons, a big screen, great build quality, and a gyroscope to rotate on the fly. It's loaded with 24 LEDs, 2 gigs of RAM with 64 GB onboard storage, and it's promoting that it's the thinnest e-reader ever and only 3mm, but really only on the screen portion. Although standing amongst all these on-paper specs is the fact that this is running Android 11 with a full English firmware. The home screen is laid out very nicely. You have a little scheduling widget and you have how many seconds read today. You also have a calendar up top, and this will all change based on what apps you have installed. For example, you can see here that there are a few Chinese apps on your main screen. But also take note that there's apps like Aldico, OneNote, Instagram, Lite, etc. You don't have to use the apps that are preloaded. You can long press them, click uninstall, say I want to uninstall this app, and it simply goes away and makes room for all your other apps that you've downloaded. This will be in English or the respective app that you've downloaded. If you download a Portuguese only app, it'll be in Portuguese. You don't have to use the apps that are preloaded on this unit. Utilizing side loading via your computer or browser, you can go to app stores like the Goody Reader App Store, One Mobile Market, etc. and you can click and install directly from the unit APK files. From there, it does have a package installer on this unit, so it installs directly to the unit. For example, if I have Nook, if I have Amazon, Manga Rock, Moon Plus Reader, etc., you simply just download it and you can start using it right away. OneNote, Instagram Lite, Facebook, you name it. It has Android 11, so this thing does have the latest Android version, meaning that anything you download on here will pretty much work right out of the gates. Scrolling from the top down, you have a wide array of things you can do: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, refresh, screenshot. Refresh is going to go like that every single time. It's going to give it a forced refresh. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't have any modes on it. It does have some power saving options and an accelerator mode, which basically clears the cache. You can see 200 MB of memory has been released, but there are no dedicated system-wide speed modes, so unfortunately that's not something you can do to go into any sort of A2 mode or X mode or anything of the sort. Settings is where you're going to find all your network, your account management, device settings, etc. If you go to device settings, you have some wallpapers you can change, you have font switching, date and time, language, volume for Bluetooth enabled devices, system navigation, and side buttons. You can actually swap the direction of side buttons, whether you want it to be left and right, right and left, and it does have a gyroscope on board, which means if you turn it 180, you can switch it like that. Landscape mode as well. You can leave it in the traditional Android layout with back, home, and more, or you can use gesture navigation, swipe from the bottom up, swipe from the right, etc. You also have some battery management settings. You can save on power mode, you can show the battery percentage, or you can keep Wi-Fi on when you're in standby. It will increase consumption, but what this means is you can actually start downloads of very large files and then put it into standby and it's going to keep going. The Ebook Experience is only going to be as good as the app that you have. For example, natively, Aldico is a very good app, but on this unit it does have a lot of page turn animations, and when you try to use the physical page turn buttons, it actually triggers the volume control. But if you switch over to an app that is a little bit more versatile, you can actually utilize all of what this device has to bring to the table: physical page turn buttons and the quick refresh rate that the latest generation of e-ink actually allows you to take full advantage of. And because this is running the latest version of e-ink technology, the background is fairly white. You do still have a little bit of stone underlying colors to this, but it is a very strong contrast, and the crispness of the actual black characters themselves are extremely high quality, and there's no puffing or any sort of pixelation around anything round like S's, O's, and rounded characters. The screen real estate on this is very welcomed and it is nice. However, because of that lack of speed mode, you're gonna have yourself a little bit of trouble when you do things like PDFs. Reason is that there is a lot to display. Now, this is doing a decent job at displaying the full quality HD image as quickly as possible, and the rendering itself is fast. But in between navigating, there's no inertia, it is very laggy, and you really don't know where you are on the page. It's not a great experience for PDFs. Pinching and zooming is very nice as well, although they don't give you a minimap or any sort of percent to tell you where you are on the screen and how big anything is. But again, this is all going to come down to exactly what kind of application you're going to be using on this, whether it's Adobe PDF Reader, etc. Kind of bittersweet, the manga experience, reason being it looks so good and it takes full advantage of this screen size. It is a very nice experience when you're looking at it as is, but depending on the app, it's going to be this weird scroll mode, there's not going to be any guided view, and pinch and zooming, although decent enough of an experience, is a little bit on the touchy side. And again, there seems to be an overall lack of minimaps and thumbnails to tell you where you are on a page, but the contrast is top notch. This is a very, very solid e-reader when it comes to a display standpoint. It does have a flush screen and bezel, but you get the idea and the feeling that this screen is very close to the surface, unlike a lot of devices that feel like it's very far down, regardless of it not being a sunken screen. Wherever you are on this unit, be it the browser, be it things you have on the device's storage itself, the quality is always going to be very nice. The blacks are very dark, the whites are very white, and the contrast between them is top notch. This is a very nice looking e-reader, and despite its shortcomings when it comes to navigation, it most certainly makes up for in its overall display quality. Utilizing side loading via your computer or browser, you can go to app stores like the Good e-Reader App Store, One Mobile Market, etc., and you can click and install directly from the unit APK files. From there, it does have a package installer on this unit, so it installs directly to the unit. For example, if I have Nook, if I have Amazon, Manga Rock, Moon Plus Reader, etc., you simply just download it and you can start using it right away. OneNote, Instagram Lite, Facebook, you name it. It has Android 11, so this thing does have the latest Android version, meaning that anything you download on here will pretty much work right out of the gates. The glow light is phenomenal as well. This has a ton of LEDs on board, both cool and warm. So you can turn it up like that, you can make it very blue if you'd like, you can turn that down and make it very orange kind of candlelight going on as well, and you can alter the temperature and the intensity of the light itself, toggle them on respectively, and it all kind of just goes from side to side. There's no puffing, there's no overexposed side, and if you look underneath the bezel, it is pretty crisp all the way to the very edge. This unit feels like it is one step away from being able to play video. Reason being, it's running the same e-ink screen as every other device on the market essentially, and it is the latest generation, and this unit has more than the capable amount of specs to be able to display pictures and videos like this. Another thing is that this looks exactly like the HD or normal mode of every other unit in its class. However, because of the lack of speed mode, we can't even take advantage of what could be, because all that we have is the HD mode and we don't have another choice in any other refresh rate. There's no shortage of Oasis copycats, but this one breaks the mold a little bit by running Android 11, allowing you to sideload and download apps, and still retains all of what makes e-readers e-readers. Xiaomi typically shies away from English operating systems when we look at devices like the Moan W7, the Mi Reader, and even 2 generations of the Ink Palm. But we're finally glad they took our considerations to heart and threw on an English language option to open this up and bring this beautiful e-reader to more of the community around the world. For goodereader.com, this is Peter.